sunrise over Lake Baringo, the start of a new day in the Rift Valley of Kenya, a country of vivid contrasts and colors, from the equator to the shores of the Indian Ocean. Kenya, a refuge for the wildlife of East Africa, where the hippos can escape the heat in the watering places of the Serengeti Plain, giraffe graze in safety, and the lion is still king. But once a year at Easter time, the big game give way to Kenya's greatest sporting event, the Safari Rally, the roughest, toughest motoring contest of its kind.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Up in Kenya's own special kind of safari fever. The first fast section off the asphalt, Kijabe to Naivasha, Altonen and Drew's Datsun 160J. Jacinda's Mercedes 280 was very much a used car, having done 22,000 miles already on the 78 Safari and the tour of South America. The first of the jumps, Preston Jr. and John Lyle, Mercedes 450. Sandro Minari, Fiat Abarth 131. Shekhar Mehta, Datsun 160J. He tangles with a hyena running on the road. Valdegaard and Thorzelius beat their target time in their Mercedes Coupe, 28 miles in 22 minutes. Hannu Mikkola and Arnie Hertz also cleaned the section in their Mercedes 450. Average speed set was 75 miles an hour. on narrow mud tracks along the escarpment from Nairobi to Naivasha. The long rains had started, so there was plenty of mud on the road. But on the first Easter Thursday afternoon, the safari stayed dry and sunny. Cheers for Jaginda from the local Kikuyu as they spot his Mercedes lucky mascot, a pair of tusks from a wild pig. Marco Allen, the 78 World Rally Champion in Fiat number 3. This was his first safari. Simo Lampinen, Peugeot 504 Coupe, the car that won the safari in 78. Harry Schallström, Datsun. Fellow Swedes call him Sputnik. Harry is one of no fewer than 20 seeded internationals in this year's safari. Preston Jr., Mercedes Coupe, drawn number 14. Sandro Minari, Fiat 131, Italian champion, Italian car. Timo Mäkinen, Peugeot, a car that's won the event 6 times in 27 years. Shekhar Mehta and Mike Doughty, Datsun. Shekhar won the safari for the Japanese in 1973. Valdegard and Thorzelius, Sweden's top-scoring crew, now in a real battle of the giants. Andrew Cowan and Johnston Sire, 2 Scotsmen in the Mercedes 280 Saloon, the car that Cowan drove to victory at the last London to Sydney Marathon. Mercedes service just before Hell's Gate control. Vic Preston Jr. makes a short stop to refuel car and driver. 2 hours gone, 4 days to go.
It's pulling very badly, Vic. Maybe the new pad. Completely standing out. But is it this? What about this rear bloody pad that was changed to a different material? No, that's right. Yeah, but maybe it's fading there. Maybe it's this rear pad. Could be, eh? Could be the rear. Absolutely.
On the Mao escarpment, a sudden tropical downpour turns the dust into thick mud in a matter of minutes. As so often happens on the safari, a trick of the weather at this time of year turns an easy section into a desperate race against the clock. This is Valdegard's Mercedes Coupe averaging 80 miles an hour on mud as slippery as a skating rink, all the way to Narok. Soon after dusk on that first day, the cars were into Kisumu on the shores of Lake Victoria. There was heavy rain in the night, but the sun was shining when the rally reached Eldoret on Good Friday morning and began the sharp descent into the Kerio Valley. Climbing out of the valley up the escarpment to Cabarnet, Rauno Ultanen and Lofty Drews were first on the road, but third on penalty points because of axle damage to their Datsun. The pressure of competition up front was turning the rally into a race. Mud stains and watermarks on Mercedes number 10 hinted at the struggle now developing for the leadership of the rally between Valdegard and Timo Mäkinen in the Peugeot. Here at Cabarnet at breakfast time on Good Friday morning, they were 2 or 3 seconds apart. 2 other Peugeots had already retired with blown engines in a bid to keep up with the V8 Mercedes. The same was true of Datsun. Shekhar Mehta and Mike Doughty were locked into the leadership battle all on their own, since teammates Ultanen and Schallström needed major rear axle repairs on the run-in to Nairobi.
How are the pigeons?
Hannu Mikkola was taking no chances. He'd just heard that Preston Jr.'s Mercedes was in trouble in the Cherangani Hills, so he eased up the pressure on Mäkinen's Peugeot. Even so, it looked as if this would be the fastest safari yet. Andrew Cowan had been driving his Mercedes 280 saloon without power steering due to damage from rocks, but was cheerfully holding off the Group 2 opposition.
How is it, Andrew? Good. Very good. What's the road been like? Dry? Very good. Dry.
At 8,000 feet above sea level, this high-altitude motoring at Cabernet had no effect on the Berkshire farmer Andy Cowan, conqueror of the Andes in the '78 South American Rally. But West German Walter Roll had some problems.
Very dry?
Yeah, big problems. Right to that.
Thompson's Falls, in the heart of the old White Highlands of Kenya, was the scene of a dramatic reverse in rally fortunes at lunchtime on Good Friday. It all happened soon after the Alfega control, as Mikkela's Mercedes kicked up the dust in an arid section of game country the locals call the Rock Garden. Valdegaard and Thorzelius had pulled out a 3-minute lead over Mackinnon and Todd in their Peugeot. Their Mercedes 450 Coupe looked certain to win the first leg back to Nairobi. Mackinnon's Peugeot was putting up some good times, but with Simo Lampinen and the '78 Safari winner Jean-Pierre Nicolas both now out with engine trouble, Timo was taking on the two Mercedes alone. The fight up front between the Swedes and the Finns went on for hours. Something had to break. Factory teams were using light aircraft and helicopters for service. This is Mercedes team manager Waxenberger following Mikkela and Hertz to Thompson's Falls. Fiat had all three 131s still running, so they led Datsun and Peugeot for the team prize. This is Sandro Minari's car. It was on the long, slow climb up the hairpins of the Subukia escarpment that something went wrong with the rally leader's car. Valdegaard was in trouble. The man most fancied to win the Safari now was losing minutes, and the first leg of the rally was not yet over. Almost at the top of the escarpment, just a few hundred yards from the main road to Thompson's Falls, another Mercedes crew, the Polish pairs Zada and Krupa in a 280 saloon, saw that Valdegaard's coupe had stopped in the ditch.
The cross member at the back, the front, the mounting, the bolt just disappeared. And when that falls down, we also broke the drive shaft.
Waxenberger and the Mercedes mechanics fitted a new rear axle unit, and Valdegaard and Thorzelius were motoring again with more than an hour of lateness to make up. Through the tall trees of the Babati forest, Hannu Mikkela and Arnie Hertz picked their path back to Nairobi and the end of the first leg of the rally. Now there was only one Mercedes 450 disputing the lead. Preston had retired. Valdegaard was running very late. Only Mikkela had the power in his V8 coupe to beat fellow Finn Mackinnon in the Peugeot. A sudden downpour near Nakuru on Good Friday afternoon turned the tracks through the tropical rainforest into a sea of slippery mud. This is where the traction and ride of the new lightweight coupe showed to advantage. The rains had destroyed the road surface, but Mikkela was able to use his superior speed and road holding to gain on Mackinnon in the equatorial heat and humidity. When they reached the asphalt and turned towards Nairobi for service and a good night's sleep, there was less than 3 minutes between Mackinnon and Mikkela after 28 hours of fierce competition. Peugeot, Mercedes-Benz, Datsun, Fiat. Those were the first four to reach the overnight rest stop in Nairobi. 33 crews who came to grief somewhere along the 1,200 miles of leg one would not return. Vic Preston Jr., full of energy after his early retirement near Eldoret, turned mechanic in the family garage in Nairobi to work on Hannu Mikkela's coupe. Except for a broken windscreen caused by spectators throwing stones near Kisumu, the 5-litre 450 SLC was undamaged. On its first outing in an international rally, the Mercedes number 14 now was well placed to win the toughest event in the world calendar. Easter Saturday, leg 2. The safari turned south, down the Mombasa Road and back twice through the Taita Hills, driving 10,000 feet high yesterday, sea level today. First, a fast section across the Maasai Plain. This is Mikkola and Hertz, averaging 80 miles an hour through the bush. Shekhar Mehta, third behind Mikkola and Mäkinen on the dash for the coast. Only 10 minutes now between these three. The Taita Hills. Service crews keep a watchful eye from the air. It's dry and sunny at the moment, but many a safari has been won and lost on the rocky hairpins on the climb to Wundanyi. Mikkola leads on the road, if you can call it that. Shekhar Mehta, Datsun. Sandro Munari lying fourth, and Fiat still lead for the team prize. Timo Mäkinen. In 10 minutes' time, his Peugeot's front suspension would break, letting Mikkola's Mercedes into the lead. Walter Roll was in collision with a local taxi higher up the hill, but his Fiat kept motoring. The three Mercedes saloons came into their own on this rough section. This is Joginda's 280E. The Polish pair, Zazada and Krupa. And Cowan and Sire. They were sixth into Mombasa and as competitive on the twisting tracks of the Titus as the smaller and lighter Fiats and Datsuns. It was in these hills that Valdegaard lost the 78 Safari in a Porsche. This year, his Mercedes goes through without trouble. Here, near Zavo, the Safari came into the country of the big game. It's impossible to close all the route to public traffic, so the risks of a rally car meeting elephant, zebra and giraffe are very real. Lions usually keep out of the way. Once through the game park country, the 37 cars left in the running were close to the shores of the Indian Ocean. Engines regained full power at sea level, and the race to be first through the dust into Mombasa was on. Walter Roll, Fiat 131, a dented driver's door, otherwise okay. Choking dust, oppressive humid heat, thunderclouds over the sea. These were the things to remember on the stage from Tezo to Mariakani. Blue and green of the Indian Ocean, long empty beaches of white sand, holiday hotels and swimming pools. It was all waiting for the rallymen as they reached Mombasa for 4 hours of rest and relaxation just after lunchtime on Easter Saturday. In the old harbour of Kenya's second city, Arab dhows shimmered at anchor in the April sunshine. But in a backstreet garage, Eric Waxenberger, a steel rear axle bolt slung round his neck for luck, called on the Mercedes mechanics for a special effort now that Mikkola was leading the 79 Safari. Hannu himself was playing it cool.
The next car is coming now. Prepare for refueling, water, everything.
That afternoon, the Oceanic Hotel was host to 30,000 Kenyans living on the coast as Hannu Mikkola brought his 5-litre coupe from Stuttgart up the arrival ramp. The Peugeot challenge had broken down with Timo Mäkinen in the tighter hills. Now Fiat were third, Datsun second, Mercedes first.
It has been very funny because you can't really tell when it's raining and when it's dust. It has been raining and after 2 minutes it's dust again, and weather has keeping and changing all the time.
How do you see your problems from now on to the end of the rally? How are you going to play it?
Oh, it will be a lot of problems, I'm sure. But we will try to finish. We will work hard for it.
Mikkola and Hertz did work hard that night, leading the safari back to Nairobi at the end of the second leg. The route was shortened by the organisers after rising rivers cut the road near Kitui. 30 survivors set out on leg 3 after lunch on Easter Sunday. An 800-mile circuit of Mount Kenya, and right from the start, it rained. This decisive struggle went on in a downpour for most of the final night. 1 hour, 20 minutes was the target time to cover 106 miles from Kijabe to Inangipiri, and it was a sea of mud most of the way. Two Mercedes coupes and two 280 saloons were in the first 10 crews left on the road, but the Polish crews, Zasada and Krupa, were not among them. They'd crashed soon after leaving Mombasa the previous evening. At the Thompson's Falls control, team manager Waxenberger described how it happened. Zasada tried to jump a washaway. The bridge had disappeared, and he crashed into a wall. It was a pretty severe accident. The car was a write-off. The crew were okay. At Thompson's Falls that Easter Sunday night, Mikkola and Hertz realized that an outright win was now within their grasp, so they were anxious to press on.
If we move it up within 3 minutes, it would be done. Then we kill the bull. In 3 minutes? 3 minutes. Yeah.
Fiat still had their 3-car team intact, but the drivers missed service to get an early dinner. Walter Roll and Marco Allen were watching Mikkola's times carefully. So was Datsun's Shekhar Mehta.
Hannu, first car.
Fast like hell, you know.
Yeah. It must be on this railway. On this railway. Yes. If one car is coming opposite way. You speak Italian. Right.
Hannu has been going quicker than us. And we've been sort of trying to stay on the road. I assume he has. And he's still going quicker than us, so barring any mechanical problems for him, it rather looks like we're not going to be able to catch him.
Dawn on Easter Monday. The lower slopes of Mount Kenya covered in a light mist. In the night, Mikkola's Mercedes suffered radiator damage from a broken fan. While he repaired it, Shekhar Mehta took over the lead in his Datsun. In bright sunshine, Mehta started the Nyeri to Muranga section knowing there were only 3 hours left of the 79 safari for Mikkola to catch up. Valdegaard was pressing the Datsuns from behind in his 450 coupe. Jaginda and Cowan in the Mercedes saloons took on the Fiats, so Mikkola had plenty of support in expert in a Mercedes 280. He doesn't put a wheel wrong in the wet. This safari rally turned out to be a true battle of the giants. With a mixture of dry roads and wet and generally mild weather, 7 to 9 was one of the fastest rallies on record. With 4 major manufacturers in the contest and 20 top international drivers, the fierceness of the competition up front had to be seen to be believed. On Easter Monday, soon after midday by the town hall clock, Mehta and Mikkola finished the safari first and second. Shekhar Mehta, an exiled Ugandan businessman living in Nairobi who drives a Mercedes in private life, gave this verdict on the 7 to 9 safari with his English wife Yvonne at his side.
How would you describe this safari compared to the year you won in the 240Z?
Well, it's always easy to say when you've won, but I think it's the best safari I've ever taken part in. The conditions were ideal. It wasn't too dusty, and apart from a few patches of mud, you could always drive everywhere, which is what it should be. But then this is in the lap of the gods, not in the lap of the committee.
Hannu Mikkola and Arnie Hertz celebrate their second place with the traditional champagne. For 5 punishing days and 3,000 miles, their Mercedes 450 SLC Coupe had been the car to beat. Hannu Mikkola was the first driver from outside East Africa ever to win the safari in 1972. So why did victory elude him in 1979?
Oh, it's many reasons, you know. It's in this kind of rally, 1,000 things can go wrong. And this time, just the small things, you know, it didn't work for me. That's the only thing, you know.
What sort of car is the 450 SLC as a rally car?
I'm very positively surprised, you know. It was very good car, very strong one.
What are its main qualities?
Oh, it keeps going, you know. You have got this torque to go through, and it was very good in mud. I was worried about that, but it's one best car I have been in mud. You know, it just pulls it through. It was fantastic.
The 2 Scotsmen, Andrew Cowan and Johnston Sire, brought their Mercedes 280 saloon to the finish in 4th position. The 2 Swedes, Bjorn Valdegard and Hans Thorzelius, their Mercedes 450 SLC Coupe finished 6th. Kenyans Joginder Singh and David Doig, Mercedes-Benz 280E. They finished 11th out of 22 survivors.
How would you sum up the Mercedes 280 as a rally car?
Very strong car, very good car.
We only broke one shock absorber, and we actually had a bit of a problem fitting the new one, but we've had very, very little go wrong with the car at all. I think it's a fabulous car, and I enjoy driving it very much. I think it's a bit big for the African roads, but, you know, I love the car. It's great.
The 7 to 9 safari confirmed the potential of the 450 Coupe's 5-litre engine and the strength of its automatic transmission. With very few modifications on its motorsport debut, the new Mercedes was always competitive in the toughest rally in the world.